So what's going on YouTube? Today I'm out here with a good friend of mine here I met in Nicaragua. His name is Stoney. I'm going to interview him and basically ask him a couple questions and let him tell you his story. So how are we doing today, Stoney?
We're doing super, actually. Today has been a day of just, it's a normal day here in paradise. It's a day of cleaning up and things of that nature, trying to maintain order. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Stoney, you've been living in Central America for how many years now?
Well, in Central America now for 7.5 in Belize, and here this June will be 5. So right at 13 years.
13
right
years.
At 13 years.
Okay.
And all told, abroad now for 25 years. Yeah.
25 years.
Yeah.
Now, you're from the United States, New Orleans,
New Orleans,
to be exact.
Louisiana, born in New Orleans.
Okay.
My wife, San Francisco. Yeah.
Now, you had an interesting story. Now, what did you do when you were in New Orleans? What did you do for an occupation?
In New Orleans, I did a number of things, actually. My background is as follows. I was in the U.S. Navy for 5 years and 3 months. Prior to that, I was a merchant seaman for 3.5 years. And when I quit the sea in 1971, I went out to California to go to dental school.
Mm-hmm.
And after talking to dentists, I realized that that's not what I really wanted to do. So I became a dental hygienist instead. That way I only invested 3 years in the education process as opposed to 7. And it gave me an opportunity to work as many or as few days as I wanted to as a dental hygienist. And pursue what I really have an interest in, which is real estate. And I've been in real estate now since 1975.
Okay.
In New Orleans, we were in the timeshare business. We sold timeshare in New Orleans and also did other work as well. I had a small home improvement company. So that's about it for New Orleans, actually. We moved to New Orleans from California in October of '79.
Mm-hmm.
And rehabbed, renovated a home in the historic district of New Orleans, and after doing that, that was a 3.5-year process. We elected to sell it and move abroad, which was really a dream of ours.
Okay.
So we made our first move abroad in 1984.
84.
And yeah, 1984. And that move was to Italy, where we lived for about 7 months, 7.5 months almost.
Okay, now let me stop you there.
Yeah.
Were you just sick of the States? Like, what was it that made you...
Let me give you a little input on that. It wasn't a matter of being sick of the States.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a matter of wanting to live in environments that we felt were more conducive to a healthier lifestyle, a lifestyle that was a bit less strenuous than the lifestyle we were accustomed to living in the United States. When I had the real estate office, I worked many, many hours per day. And the thing that caused us to make these changes actually was that we were very successful when you look at material things. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But we had absolutely no quality in our lives.
None
whatsoever. There's a trade-off there. When you're trying to keep all of these balls in the air, when you have all of these material things, they have to be paid for. You know the lifestyle in the United States. We make $100,000, we spend 120. Okay, that's the mentality.
Yeah.
And we had that same mentality, and in acquiring all of these things, we gave up a lot of control over the quality that we had prior to all of these acquisitions.
Okay.
And so it was an effort to bring ourselves back to center. That's why we left the United States. There's another reason. We felt that things were not progressing the way we'd hoped they would progress in the United States. The lack of social awareness, towards people who really need help. Okay, nothing is being done for these people. Not a whole lot, not enough. And so when I go back to the United States now, and it's been 10 years since we've been to the States, when I look at all of this homelessness and things of that nature that's happening in the United States and all of the poverty and things of that nature, it really troubles me as an American citizen. So that's why we made the initial move abroad. We are very comfortable living abroad. We've learned how to live abroad. It takes a while to learn how to live in these countries, and we're very comfortable. When we go back to the States now, it's nice to visit family and be in the shopping mall for a week or two, but after a week or two, we're ready to come back. Yeah.
Now, you have an interesting story of how you actually found your first place that you wanted to live. Could you share the story with us?
Oh, yeah, very definitely. My wife and I narrowed it down to a couple of three places, Montserrat, the Cayman Islands, and I think we were also thinking of the Dominican Republic. So what we did was we just went to the airport and made the decision right there at the airport. And what we selected was Grand Cayman. And that was our let's see, I said our first, no, that was, I'm sorry, let me correct myself. I said our first move abroad was Italy. The first move abroad was actually Grand Cayman for a year.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to backtrack there. And then after Grand Cayman, we went back to New Orleans to take care of an uncle. And after my uncle passed away, we decided to move abroad again. And at that point, we went back to California for a bit, for about 4 or 5 months, and then from there, we went to Italy, to Florence. That's right.
To Florence, okay. Now, you've been living abroad for about 25 years now. Now, comparing that to the United States as far as lifestyle and things of that nature, what have you learned from living abroad?
What we've learned from living abroad in all of these countries, the Latin culture as a whole, there's a lot of similarities in these Latin countries, but each of the countries has its own distinct culture, okay? And one of the things that we've learned in living in these countries is that you can't change the culture. Cultural mores are very strong, so we don't go against the tide. We don't try and change the people's culture, because it is what it is. It's their culture. Okay, so what we've learned to do is adapt to the culture. Okay, there are negatives, there are positives, and these negatives and positives exist wherever you live in the world. Okay, there's no perfect places. So we've just learned to be accepting of that. Now, the differences are things like the bureaucracy. Okay, it tends to be slower in these countries. When you want to make things happen, for instance, when you're looking for permits to build a home or do other things like that, you have to be patient, because the tendency for a lot of foreigners is to go in and really push and push and push to try and make things happen very quickly, because that's what you're accustomed to at home.
Now, Stoney, 1 second. I want you to hold that thought.
Sure.
I try to keep the videos under 10 so they can upload. So we're going to do a part 2. So hold that thought, and I'm going to start you right where you stopped off.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
So just look for the part 2, guys. Sign off.